Good evening and welcome to the ME7 Podcast. The Gills couldn't quite see it out at the Stadium of Light after conceding a gut-wrenching 95th minute winner to Alex Neil's men. However, the positives still keep coming for the Gills after seeing Josh Chambers make his first league start, something he's been waiting for since he joined the club at the age of 8. Tonight, we discuss Saturday, our academy prospects and much more. As we are joined by Jim Norley from Gills Legends. Jim, good evening.
Hi, James, all right?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Okay, right. So thank you for joining me this evening. It was obviously a gut-wrenching defeat on Saturday. One that kind of obviously we looked in the grand scheme of things, it was almost a free hit going up to the stadium like with the games that we've got left, but because it ended up being it left so late until we got conceded, it hurt that tiny bit more, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think though, I think the Neil Harris effect has made us believe more going to places like that. I think like a couple of months ago we wouldn't have given ourselves a chance. I think I was a lot more confident going up there that we could perhaps snatch a draw, and as the game went on it was looking more and more likely, and as you say, the sucker punch at the end it's all the more gutting to lose so late. We'd have held a little bit longer.
We don't have a bad record at Stadium Light, in fairness. We've grabbed the couple of draws up there. We've also, I think we nicked a winner in the FA Cup one year as well. We don't have a bad record going. I mean, we both of us have been supporting Gills quite a number of years. It seems to be that when we go to the big grounds and the big games come along, we step up and perform more than we usually do.
Yeah, definitely. And I think even this season under Evans, we did do that at times. I went to Hillsborough, the Sheffield Wednesday game, and we got a draw up there as well, and went 1-0 up. And all right, we were hanging on at the end, but we did do it. And yeah, same Saturday. And as I say, I think under the new regime, we're a lot more confident that we can get points at places like that. And I thought I've quite fancied us to get a draw, and it almost happened.
Yeah, it did almost happen. I mean, in fairness, we kind of went off. Looking back at the highlights, we didn't manage to go up there, but looking back at the highlights, it kind of seemed to be that we were hoping that one would just flying off a boat or flying off a little flick or whatever. Charlie Kelman kind of nearly nick one from range and things like that. But that's what we were kind of hoping for on Saturday afternoon, wasn't it? Rather than actually creating something ourselves. Yeah,
definitely. I don't think we created any sort of clear cut chances really. As you say, one was probably the closest. But even that was a tough chance, wasn't it? But to the way we're defending, I think that's what we have to do at the moment, because we're struggling to create chances anyway, let alone away at the Stadium of Light. You're not going to get much in the way of chances up there, so defend first, which we did do for the most part, and try and as you say, get what you can.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously mentioned a minute ago about the Neil Harris regime. It seems to be that you even said that we're playing with a lot more free flow confidence now. What do you think? You've obviously been to a fair few games this season as well. Is that what do you think is the difference that Neil Harris has made to this Gillingham side?
I think we're a lot more solid. That's the first thing.
Yeah,
I think he's got a lot more defensively solid playing, and there's just and with that we're picking up results, and there's the belief is going. I mean, from the first game when he took over, the atmosphere just suddenly changed before we'd even kicked the ball under him, and it's just continued with the results. And it's hard. I don't know. I mean, obviously the change of system has certainly helped. It seems to suit us a lot better with the players we've got available and the current situation we're in. And I mean, to get 14 whatever it is in 2 months is just incredible, really.
Yeah, it is. It is incredible. It is obviously an incredible record that Neil Harris has done, and it's amazing, isn't it? That obviously the previous manager that brought in obviously that the majority of that squad, all of that squad, couldn't really get anything out of them coming towards the end of the season, and then obviously Steve Lovell stepped in. I mean, in fairness to Steve, he was doing it as pretty much a favour. Do you think it's that he's given them that belief, or do you think he's worked with them actually tactically on the training ground, or do you think it might be a little bit of both?
I think it's both. I think definitely the belief first, because you could see that, as I say, from that first game he took over, he hadn't had a chance to do anything on the training ground, and everything just seemed so much more better straight away. And then as time's gone on, he's having more time, and I think the way we're setting up and playing, it's kind of like defending first, and the amount got as well since he's come in is sort of testament to that. We seem to be just defending better as a team as well. It's not just the defence. The whole team seems to be defending better, working harder. Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? I think it always seems to happen. You get a new manager in, it's the same players, apart from one out, one in, which is kind of like for like, really. And they just, I don't know. I mean, there was obviously talk of Evans' dressing room and things, so I mean, it looks more and more like that was the case, just as much as the transfer.
And it seems to be, doesn't it, that with that then comes the structure again, where obviously he's got the goalkeeping coach in Darren Ibrahim, and then the head of recruitment that's just come in last week in Nicky Shorey. It seems to be that Harris is also getting what he wants behind the scenes as well as kind of on it. And that's a contributing factor into probably why things are going well, isn't it? Is that obviously if Harris is happy, that relates then onto the players, and then the players then perform. Yeah,
I think from his first interview as well, Harris, the way he was talking, so encouraging, because he was talking as if obviously we're going to try and stay up, but even if we don't, he was still sort of looking over the 2.5 years, which you want to hear. You want to have that bit of stability, especially a manager of that caliber. And the fact that he's looking already in the short time to sort of change the back room and the infrastructure, the way things are done, that, as you say, getting Nicky Shorey in, head of recruitment, so could make a huge difference, I think, in the long run, and of like the youth, getting the youth team up to speed, and the reserves, bringing back reserves so they get more competitive games and things. And it's all sort of encouraging for the long-term plan. We don't hear much of these days because either managers don't get the chance or they don't want to stick around that long. So it's all refreshing to hear.
Very true. Okay, talking of first interviews, he obviously did an interview after the game on Saturday, Neil Harris, and we are going to play that for you now.
Said to the lads, so if you want to play at the high level, and you want to compete at that level week in, week out, then you have to deal with a game for 96, 98 minutes. And my disappointment is we made one slight error of judgment and it's cost us the game. Football is cruel, Phil, as we know. I can't be any proud of the players, any proud of the fans that travelled and supported us. It was a real strong Gillingham back to the walls performance, but it didn't go our way today.
Yeah, we obviously heard from the gaffer there, didn't we? That it was straight in to concede that last minute winner. David, good evening. Thank you for joining me. I know it was a very short notice, but you did extremely well to come on within 2 minutes of me messaging you. So well done. Just quickly give us your assessment of Saturday afternoon against Sunderland for me.
Tough one, isn't it? I think, to be fair, we probably set up a little bit negatively. I don't know if I don't think going into the game we were particularly hoping to be too positive anyway. I think, we were probably set up for a point or just for, at least at the very least keeping a clean sheet and seeing what we could get out of this game. Obviously, most of the time, Saturday it seems to have worked, apart from obviously, unfortunately, a goal in the death is always really painful. But I suppose with a team like Sunderland, and actually, to be fair, they're one of those teams that probably should be performing much better, and historically we've probably been rather lucky against them at times when we've gone there. So after the amount of draws we've had them against them in the last couple of seasons, they probably do deserve a win at their place, don't they?
Jim, obviously on Saturday, sort of full league debut in terms of his first league start for Josh Chambers. One that Neil Harris said after the game that he had no qualms about chucking him straight in there. I mean, he probably didn't have much choice with the amount of injuries that we've got, but he had no worries about chucking him in there. He obviously come on earlier in the season at Doncaster. Now he obviously made his start at Stadium of Light. Yeah, I mean, it's clear to show them the manager believes in the academy.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what he was saying in that he said in interviews earlier where the standard better, so these players are ready to come in and can call on them when they're needed. Josh Chambers, I've actually watched the youth team quite a bit over the last. He was one of the players above his age. He at 15, he was playing for the under-18 a couple of years. So got something about him, and he always looked quite good. And I was a bit sad that Evans never used him. Sort of picked a few of the other youth that were perhaps a little bit younger ahead of him, and never sort of gave him a call up to the first team. But yeah, I think Chambers has definitely got potential and promise, and yeah, it's good to see that Harris is happy to use him and I mean, he could have easily changed formation and shoehorned someone else in, someone more experienced, but he kept to the same system and put faith in him, and I think he did okay.
Yeah, that's great to see, isn't it, David? Is that obviously we've all been Gills fans for years, and we're quite well known as a football club that we like to put trust into our academy. We've obviously seen Matt Jarvis come through. We've seen Bradley Dack come through. We've seen Jake Hessenthaler come through. We've seen names upon names come through that academy, and it's a well-known academy in terms of the Premier League like to look at our academy of names. And obviously we've seen Josh come through. We've seen Harvey Lintott come through this season. We've seen Bailey Apehurst come through this season. It's great to see the academy actually being used and these players playing for the first team, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think speaking of players that have joined the first team from the academy, Jack Tucker, not too long ago, a couple of seasons ago, obviously he's an absolutely staple part of that back line now. I think, as you guys were saying earlier, I think actually our youth recruitment is really, really important, especially given the fact that we're the only Football League team in Kent. It gives us a really rare opportunity, actually, that a lot of the other clubs don't have, to be able to scout far and wide, to be able to scout those local teams that other teams don't necessarily have access to. And unfortunately, here, there, and everywhere, we've turned some pretty spectacular talents down, like, for example, Lewis Binks, who's now playing in Serie A. But, every so often these things get through. But hopefully, with a new head of recruitment, as you guys have previously been talking about, and Harris, with what he's looking to do, we can hopefully stop so many of those from falling through the net and improve that, and in that sort of sense, improve the team as well.
Yeah, and obviously with Jim, with the academy being actually shown an interest in terms of from the first team management, because we've seen it from first team management before that they kind of disregarded the academy and gone, no, I'm just using the first team players I've got. It's great to see, and that's one way almost getting the fans on side, isn't it? Is that when you're in a new job, if you're using players that are born and bred Gillingham players and they're coming through the academy, I suppose that's one way to get the supporters on side if you're using one of our own, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. You know, they're going to give their at the very least, and I think as well at our level, you need to have a decent, half decent academy, because especially with the size of the squad we've got, we're planning to, and it's going to happen when you've got a small squad, a budget, and you're in the lower reaches of the Football League. I think it's very important. Hopefully there'll be a few more. Yeah,
I mean, in terms of the shoestring, let's move away from Sunderland now. We've kind of wrapped it up and accepted that it was a gut wrenching winner. But let's move on to kind of talking points coming up then. What obviously we didn't manage to quite cover the questions from last week, but we're going to go on to them now. The out of contract players is a big talking point coming towards the end of the season. David, I'll come to you first. One of the questions that we had posed to us was that if you could only re-sign 3 players from this season, who would be the 3 players and why?
Oh, gosh. Okay. Straight off the top. So Chapman, Tucker, and I'm going to say Ben Thompson. I don't think it will be realistic, but we're not talking realistic, are we? You're just asking me my 3 signings. So for me, Aaron Chapman, since he's been our number 1, he's more than proved that he can take it at this level, and clearly Harris has been doing a lot of work with him. For me, Jack Tucker, he's been a staple in that defence for a good number of seasons now, and I think I don't know if someone will snap him up, but in this scenario, maybe not. But I'd like to see him continue to be a staple in our defence for a bit longer. And I think Ben Thompson provides something unique for us, and he provides a bit of creativity that otherwise we probably don't have. And it's not something that, let's be honest, not something the Gillingham teams are particularly known for in our creativity. So hopefully that to me gives us a spine to work with, and then go out and get another goal scorer or something.
Jim, who would be your 3 and why?
Yeah, probably be quite similar. I think maybe Dane Oliver I'd look to keep as well over one of those, maybe, just because he is proven at this level, and I think he's not had the service for most part of the season. I think when he does get it, he normally takes his chances, and they're not easy to find goal scorers. If you've got one already, why not keep him if you can?
Yeah, I agree. I think I would go with I'll go with Tucker Thompson and Oliver. I think I would go along the lines with you, David, with that spine of the team. We obviously know that more than 3 players are going to get offered contracts come the end of the season. I hope so anyway.
It just depends how many of those end up accepting, doesn't it? Because I think we all know that it's going to be a challenge enough for Harris.
What is out of contract?
Well, that's exactly it, isn't it? So you can offer contracts till the cows come home, but if other clubs come in, we saw it last summer with Conor Ogilvie as well. We offered him a contract, gave him the benefit of the doubt of allowing him to come and train with the squad to keep fit, and then he goes off to Portsmouth. So the likelihood is that we've got a good few players that could play at a higher level than us, whether that be higher in League One or potentially lower to mid Championship. I wouldn't be surprised if those kind of clubs come calling, that we'll have a depleted squad, and the squad will once again look very different.
Yeah, obviously all depending on what league we're in as well. I mean, the calibre of player that you then attract is completely different to one in League Two and then to one in League One, which is obviously quite interesting. Jim, we'll come to you now. You run the famous page, Gillingham Legends. Just tell us a little bit about how that idea come about, where the artwork comes from. Go ahead.
Yeah. I started doing it sort of in lockdown, really, the first sort of lockdown. Just for something to do. There's quite a lot of out there, similar sort of things, but sort of geared towards the Premier League and all the big clubs and that. And obviously, as a Gills fan, there's not much out there, or there wasn't. And it started off just as a bit of fun, really, just doing it as a bit of fun, and then I started making a list of some of my favourite players from over the years. I spoke to my dad, he's been a Gills fan for sort of 60 years. Spoke about players from his era when he started going and so on, and the list was getting longer and longer. Suddenly it would be quite good to sort of post a new one every day, and that's how it started. And it's proved to be quite popular. I think, as I say, there's not much like that for Gills fans, and it's a good way for the fans to sort of reminisce and talk about the players and remember the matches and things. It's sort of I've expanded it now a bit as well, so we do that. We cover like the legendary games and seasons and all sorts, really. And it's been good and good fun.
Yeah, obviously, people might not know, but Jim messaged me a while ago and seen that my dad obviously passed away in November, and gave me a lovely message to send him to send myself a piece of artwork of a photo of me and my dad, which was absolutely amazing. Do you get kind of a lot of players contact you with these prints and ex-players, and have you had much contact with them?
I sort of, when as it's starting to get a little bit bigger, I discovered that a lot of the ex-players were following me, and they were taking an interest in it as well. And so I thought about, well, what if I contacted a couple and see if they'd sign a picture, and then I could use that to give away to fans. And I've done that, and I've sort of tried to make it my mission to contact as many as possible. And I've actually got well over 100 now of the ex-players from all sorts of eras, going back to still a few players from the 60s, and got players in the 70s, 80s. I still haven't got Steve Bruce, though. He's like the big fish I'm trying to get. But I've managed to get quite a few now, and and it's good to talk to them, and a lot of the players, certainly the older ones as well, say it's nice just to be remembered, really. It's nice for them, like the fans still think about them, and that they find an autograph again as well, and in some cases as well, I've managed to sort of reconnect teammates as well.
Oh, wow.
Lost contact over the years, and they've asked, "Oh, are you in contact with so and so?" and have been able to sort of exchange their details so they can sort of reunite again, which is really nice to do.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Okay, we will obviously post, retweet and post Gillingham Legends on our social media pages to give a shout out. Let's wrap up. Last couple of minutes of the show. Let's review Wycombe this weekend. Coming to Priestfield, obviously Brandon Hallen and Adebayo Akinfenwa will come back to Priestfield. Bayo's last season as obviously a footballer. David, one of the games that I guess not really pinpointed it as one of the ones that we have to win, but a game that we look at it that we could win on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I think so. Wycombe always set up to be quite attacking so far from what I've seen this season, and they're quite a forward-thinking team. And Ainsworth has done a fantastic job there. He seems to have changed Hanlon, so he actually looks like he can play football. I'm rather surprised at that, if I'm honest. He seems to be doing a great job there himself. But it's going to be a tough one. But I think, having home advantage might play somewhat into it. Having us all at home is going to be a good start there. If we can set positively and play how we have done recently against the likes of Sheffield Wednesday, then I think anything's possible, and we could be looking at 3 points at the weekend.
Jim, yeah, give us your thoughts ahead of Saturday against Wycombe.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier as well. The belief that we have now under Harris, the way we're setting up, and we're going into this thinking we can get something, which is a big change from what it was. It's still going to be a very tough game. They're up battling to get in the playoffs. But yeah, I think the way we are playing now, the way the players believe, I just hope that obviously Saturday's sucker punch hasn't hurt them, and I don't think it would have done. I think Neil Harris will know how to get them motivated and get them up for Saturday. And yeah, hopefully we can get 3 points. I think Tuesday night would be a key one as well. So if results go our way Tuesday night, because the other three of the other teams have got their games in hand, if they go our way, and hopefully it'll be a little bit less pressure to get 3 points Saturday. Maybe the draw would be enough for now.
Yeah. Score predictions quickly. We've got 8 seconds. Score predictions. David, what are you going to go for on Saturday?
2-1, Gills.
2-1, Gills. Jim, what are you going to go for?
I'll go 1-0. We won't score 2.
1-0. Okay, that's a wonderful way to wrap off the show. Wycombe on Saturday afternoon. Good night.